Hey y'all. So I wanted to talk about something that happened recently. Uh, and not just talk about it. I want, I guess, to make a record of this thing that happened because it's a big deal to me. It's probably the hardest thing that I've ever had to experience in my whole life so far, really. And I know because I don't think anything's ever impacted me as much or caused me to just weep bitterly. I've been crying a lot for the past couple of days. Um, Long story short, I had to put my cat down today. Lucky. I had to put my cat Lucky down today. Harry is fine, because of course he is. He's only like a year old, so there's nothing wrong with him. But Lucky was almost 15 years old. He was not a young cat. And I guess this is sort of his eulogy. That was my plan, at least anyway, while I was trying to get some sleep last night and only sort of succeeding. Because, of course, last night was my last night with Lucky at home here, and he was just sort of. He was just sort of doing what cats do when it's near the end. He found a place and he just stayed there. He wasn't eating, and he was obviously in a decent amount of pain. Um, I tried moving him a little this morning to maybe make it a little easier to put him in the bag to take him to the vet, but he just obviously he doesn't like the bag. He was walking around on his own for a little bit, but which gave me a false sense of hope, I suppose. But he just went right back to the drawer in my closet. That's that was his little safe space. Um, it's a place that he's been in many times over the past 14 years or so now, I guess, that I've had him. 13. So I would say this is going to be a long, rambly video and not algorithmic or whatever, and but who cares? If y'all been watching me for a while, you know I don't really care that much about that kind of stuff anyway, and um, I just want to tell Lucky's story. That's what this is. It's his eulogy. I'm telling his story, and I thought to myself, in telling his story, I can tell other stories too, because I mean, Lucky was just an apartment cat, and he never really got out much, unless you count, like, I think, I can't even remember now, it was so long ago, if it was him or the other cat that tried to take outside, and that didn't go very well, so I just figured, well, they should just be in the apartment, right? They don't need to go anywhere else. Lucky would venture out into the hallway occasionally, and that was about it. But when I say the other cat, I might as well say that the main reason I initially got Lucky so long ago was to sort of fill a void from the first cat that I ever had, and it was a similar situation with her. I had to put her down because she got cancer, and that tore me up in the same way that this is tearing me up. Because of course I blame myself. Like, I was a big old pothead a long time ago. I was an idiot. I was some stupid kid, and smoking a lot of weed and burning all kinds of incense in this tiny little apartment. And the worst part is, like, I think I had her for at least a couple of years, and I never even bothered to name her. So part of me thought that, as corny as it sounds, I might name her now and just call her Wanda, after my favorite Zombicide character, I guess. It's just the, kind of like with Lucky and with Harry, it's just sort of the first name that kind of popped in my head when I started to think about what name should I choose. But back when I got Wanda, it was so long ago now. It's probably not long after I got out of high school. I was not even 20 yet, I don't think. And I was going around with a friend of mine after work. Used to work at this restaurant, wholesale supply, like warehouse or something, called Chicago Beef, downtown Detroit. That place doesn't even exist anymore. I'm not sure anything is going on there every time I drive, but that's not the point. That's not the point. Me and this friend of mine from work, we walked into a gas station, and there was just a cat, like a little black and white cat, just sort of sitting there in the gas station. And I thought, well, that's funny. And she was just sitting there, just chilling out. And I was probably stoned. And we were just buying munchies, right? Because we would usually do that. We would get like stoned after work or something, and just buy some munchies at the gas station. I asked the gas station attendant, whose cat is that? And he's like, it's yours if you want her. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. He said something along those lines, and that just sort of put the idea in my head, like, okay, I'll just put her in my car then. Because I had just gotten a car. Like, I just graduated high school, I just got my first car, and I said, why the hell not? I'll get a cat. This is my cat. And I figured I should talk about Wanda a little bit, because maybe a theme of this story, sort of, is like, it took me a while, and I'm still learning, but it took me a while to really learn how to, like, take care of a cat. To even understand, like, just cats, like, just sort of what they're really like, and all that. Because, of course, a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. Like, I've heard a lot of people just call cats jerks, like, as just, like, a whole, cats are just jerks. And it's like, no. No, they're animals, right? They're just different, and I get that, because that's what I am too. I'm also just different, like, with my ADHD. A lot of people don't get us neurodivergent folks either. But anyway, moving on. I I learned a lot of things uh, with each cat, and if nothing else, my first cat taught me that the importance of like actually naming, your little bundle of like fuzzy ball that you have agreed to take care of. Because boy, I sure did feel ashamed when it was finally time for her to go, and I didn't even really have her for all that long. Really, it seemed like a while to me, but it really wasn't all that long compared to how long I had Lucky. And when she was gone, uh, I just, even when it came to the vet, I just I just told the vet, yeah, she's Cat. That's her name. Yep. Like I just named her Cat. I guess I thought that was funny back then. And even when she died, I like they gave me this little paper that maybe I still have somewhere, hopefully, that had her little paw print on it. And unfortunately, the vet I went to today didn't do that. Um, but anyway, it was some quaint little reminder of her, um, and it just said cat on it because I didn't. So I got lucky because, like I said, it when I got home after putting her to sleep, and that was hard. It was hard to just see the life slowly seep out of her when, I had been with her for years, and I, you know, you you grow attached, obviously, to your pet. Um, another thing I learned really is I should probably mention. I used to think it was weird when people would call their pets like fur babies, or they'd say I'm a cat parent. I'm the mom. I'm the dad. They're my family. I used to think that was weird, but I get it now. I've had enough experience with cats and lived with them for long enough to know what it's like to develop a bond with an animal. And sure, like, they're not human and they're not technically your family, but I'm sure I don't need to tell anybody that's listening to this that has a pet that they really are like kids, because you do need to take care of them. And they do have their own little personalities, and they are able to express gratitude for the things that you do for them. And with time, you learn to recognize like those signs, like how they're feeling, just their vibe, and what's sort of going on with them and all that. But with Wanda, like I said, she had cancer, and we actually took her to the vet and removed her first tumor. And I foolishly thought that would keep her around for a little while longer, and it did, but not much longer. It was cancer, right? So we were just right back at square one eventually. And they said, well, there's nothing we can do. We can just put her to sleep, and much like Lucky, she um, was obviously not doing well. Like with her, you could just see the tumor. It was just this growth, like on her abdomen, her stomach area. She would lie around in the closet. Uh, she found a comfy spot, and just like Lucky, just sort of stayed there, and wasn't moving, wasn't eating, wasn't doing very much of anything, and I guess again I was so dumb back then. It took me a while to even realize something was wrong. Like, why isn't my cat moving around? What's this thing on her stomach? I had no idea. But what I did know was when we took her to the vet and put her to sleep, it was hard. And when I got back home and the my little apartment here was just empty and it was just me, there was just nothing and nobody else. It was really hard to deal with because, of course, like if any of y'all ever lost anybody that you've lived with, when they're gone, you look around and just all sorts of little things just remind you of that person, and then you get sad because they're not here anymore. They're not here with you. So I got lucky because of that. Like, Dad saw that it was hitting me hard, and he said, well, they've got kittens at the vet. How about we go back there and then you can get one. Get yourself a kitten. And Lucky wasn't a kitten. He was like Harry's age. I think he was about a year, maybe a little less than a year old. I honestly don't know how old he was when I first got him. Like I said, I was a stupid pie back then. It was legitimately a very fuzzy sort of time for me, because people with ADHD have memory problems as is, but when you're not treated and you're also doing a substance that can make you feel good in certain ways, it also messes with your memory. And if you've already got memory problems, like, my life was just a big foggy haze for a while back then. But we went there, and I remember vividly that they brought out a bunch of young cats, and so there were a bunch of cats that I could choose from, and I was starting to look at them and decide, which one is comparable, I guess, which one, might I like the best, I guess. I don't know, but I do remember that they didn't bring Lucky out at first. They weren't sure about bringing him out because I guess they weren't really sure about being able to adopt him, because he's always been like a bit not very cuddly, shall we say. Lucky's always been I eventually grew to call him like my grumpy old tiger. And when he, not that long ago, when he really became an elder cat. He's always been that way, though. Now that I think about it, now that I remember the old days, everybody would say, "Oh, such a cute cat," but don't get near him because he bites. And yeah, ever since I got him, in fact, that's kind of the reason I did get lucky actually, because they brought him out, and his name was Buddha at the time because he had this big belly, and he always did all throughout his life have a larger than usual, I guess, stomach for a cat. He was always a big cat. Um, but the I've told people many times, the first thing that Lucky did when I met him was he bit me right on the hand. I tried to pet him, and he just and at the time I said, "This one's got spunk. I like that." I guess there is something in him that I could relate to. In that, I don't know. I guess he was just a little weirdo like me, right? So I took him in, and it wasn't easy at first because, well, like I said, Lucky was. They were probably right to be cautious about giving him away because, I mean, honestly, Lucky probably would have been better off with someone who was more experienced with raising and dealing with cats, because I had no idea what the hell I was doing. Like, I really didn't. Even though I had already had Wanda, like, I definitely knew more about cats when I got Lucky, but I still didn't know very much. And I still think that there were a lot of things that I did that I really shouldn't have done with both of them, with both Wanda and Lucky, because I didn't. For example, one lesson I had to learn is when it comes to cats, like, you never. It never helps to, like, shout at them or, be, like, aggressive or something when you're trying to discipline them because they're doing something that you don't like. That just doesn't help, because they don't know what they did that made you angry, and honestly, even if you're not angry at the cat, if you're just angry, it unsettles cats anyway. They don't like it when people are shouting. They don't like it when there's very loud noises going on, because of course they don't. Like, they're cats, and they have an excellent pair of ears. So, like, they can, like, you shouting is way louder to them than it is to you. But I had Lucky for a long time, and throughout the course of me having him, I learned a lot of things about how to care for not just a cat, I guess, but just anybody, and to care about. Because really, like, I would say that I've had my problems, and I still kind of do. And more often than not, I would say about Lucky, he's probably one of the only things that keeps me going. Because it's no strange coincidence that a lot of people with ADHD develop, like, mild to severe anxiety and depression, because, I mean, you're just a failure all the time. You're always beating yourself up because sometimes it just seems like nothing you do is right, and you're always messing everything up and pissing everybody off, and you never know why, and it just gets to you after a while. So there were a lot of times when life was really, really hard for me, but I had this little guy that I needed to take care of, and I knew that. Like, it's almost like just the fact that he was here and, was so dependent on me. Again, I probably don't need to tell anybody that has been through something like this, had kids or pets or just, a family, right? I contemplated suicide once, at least once. It was when I had some really difficult health issues because I've had ulcerative colitis, and it was a lot of pain and discomfort that I went through for a very long time. And add to that just the whole just constant chaotic state of my brain anyway. Like the UC was probably one major contributing factor to what made me even more of a weirdo. Like, you don't want to go out much when you've got ulcerative colitis, I'll tell you that much. You don't want to go out because you just never know when things are going to go south, and you're going to be incredibly uncomfortable and get like some sort of bloody diarrhea or something like that. And Lucky was with me through all of that and all sorts of other things too. And we just grew to depend on each other, I guess. It was just me and him for the longest time in this tiny apartment that I've been in. I've been in this little apartment for a long time now. It seems like this is just. I used to call this my my fortress of solitude. Like, I told that to a therapist once not too long ago, and she immediately said, "Oh, okay. Maybe you should get out more and talk to people." Maybe you shouldn't be so worried about people looking at you funny, and maybe you should just try to go out and be more social. And I did. When she told me that, I did. I joined some groups and met some people, and I'm still trying to do that, sort of. I haven't been doing it as much lately, mainly because of the job situation that I kind of put myself in, sort of. But y'all probably know, for the entirety of this channel, I've just been without employment, and things have just been very shaky. And it's hard to go out anywhere when you barely have enough money for just gas and food. And then I decided to take in Harry too, and all of a sudden I needed to somehow come up with enough money for twice as much food and litter for 2 cats, while also buying, like, I bought some extra stuff too to try and make this place a little bit better for 2 cats, not just one. And it ended up working okay. You know the funny thing, I might as well mention, this is going way back when. Um, my sister, she actually kidnapped Lucky from me. In theory, she kidnapped Lucky from me. This is way back when I first got him, when like he was just this cute little guy, just like Harry, just such a adorable little ball of fuzz. And so she grabbed him, and at least once, if not maybe twice, sometimes I would wake up and the apartment was just empty, and I'd be like, where's Lucky? And it turned out like my sister, for a while, she lived in the apartment across the way, if not just next door. She would take Lucky sometimes because I guess she wanted a cat too. And we had a cat before Lucky as well, actually, now that I remember. Wow, I completely forgot Jasper existed. Oh gosh. Yeah, before I ever got Wanda, Jasper existed. We had Jasper. We got Jasper from an office building, actually. Jasper was an old cat already when we got her, and she was like an office cat that Dad's girlfriend decided to sort of take because I guess like the office couldn't keep her anymore for whatever reason, and we decided to take her in. Linda, Dad's girlfriend, she I guess didn't want to keep Jasper herself, so we had her in our double apartment for a while. And I say all that because I guess Jasper too had to be put down. And I don't know, for some strange reason I can't remember that being as hard for me, because I guess since it used to be me, Dad, and Mary and Jasper all living together, like I didn't develop as much of a bond with Jasper as I did with Wanda, who was my cat, and especially with Lucky, who is not only my cat, but I've had for such a long time. Like I said, Jasper was already kind of old when we got her, so it wasn't weird, I guess, when it was time for her to go. But then again, it was just so long ago. It was so long ago now. It's hard for me to remember how I really felt back then about Jasper being let go. All that to say, though, Mary, I think, missed Jasper, and because she had sort of taken Jasper under her wing there for a little while as her cat, sort of. But then Jasper died, and I got Lucky, and Lucky was so cute. And again, all this to say that she would take him, and I always thought it was very, very interesting. This goes back to what I was saying about people saying cats are jerks. Like, Mary had in her studio apartment at the time, like an old Virgin Mary statue from our mom, and Mom hadn't died all that long ago, so I guess we were still going through that grieving process a little bit, and Lucky knocked over the statue and broke it, and Mary just called him a demon cat. She said he was a demon. She said he wasn't a cat. That's a demon in the form of a cat or something, because Virgin Mary statue, I guess. I don't know. Would he have been a demon if he just knocked over her favorite coffee mug? Which is just as likely for him to have done, I guess. Or some other non-religious statue. I mean, cats knock stuff over. They do. That's just what they do. Harry does it all the time. He broke a bunch of my coffee cups not too long ago, actually. Well, one. He broke one of them. I had some little coffee mug tree on the counter that just Harry just plowed right into. Uh, so I guess if Wanda taught me, you should you should name your little fur baby, your little friend. You should name them. They should have a name. They should you should look at them like they are part of your family, not just a little stuffed toy for you to play with. You know, they're a living thing too, with emotions and a personality and all that stuff, and needs that it is your responsibility to fulfill. And I learned that even more so with Lucky, that it's it like I said before, it really is true that they are now your children. And like Harry's driving that home even more now because I look at cat videos on YouTube sometimes, especially like informational cat videos, and one I saw about like the signs that a cat is bonding with you emotionally, and not just that, but sort of views you as like their parent now, as their caregiver. All that's there with Harry. Like he will just sleep in my bed with me, like usually by my feet, kind of. He'll like curl up right by my leg, and well, he purrs a lot when I'm around, when I'm close, and I'm petting him, and he has a little curly tail thing. If obviously Lucky did that too. Like whenever a cat is in an environment that they feel safe and comfortable in, if they're walking around with their tail up and it's curly, that's just a cat sign that they're chill, that they're fine with where they are and the people they're with. Harry's also apparently he's one of these needy cats. He always wants attention. Like he'll he'll cry a lot, I guess, for attention, for to play. He's really got a strong hunting instinct. But back to Lucky and what he taught me. I think that it took me so long to realize with him that like he was basically like my foster child in a sense. That I did adopt him. Like I had come to the conclusion a long time ago, of course, that not right away, but I eventually came to the conclusion that like Lucky is my responsibility. I decided to take him in, so come hell or high water, I need to take care of him. And I guess that's why this recent situation was just so hard. I wanted to give him his best life, and I guess I did, but I don't know. I always thought maybe I could give him an even better life, just a longer, just better life, with more things and all that. Just I don't know. Like I said that earlier, there was probably a lot of mistakes I made when I was raising him, and a lot of things I probably should have been doing, but I just didn't. A lot of grooming things that I should have been doing. I should have been brushing him to make sure that he wasn't getting on hairballs, and we got him declawed. I got him declawed at one point too, because the vet recommended that I do that, and I now know that that's not something that you should do. I mean, I guess it's an option, but it's it's basically animal abuse in a sense. I mean, I know we just think that they're claws, but for cats, they're basically their fingertips. Imagine if somebody chopped off all your fingertips and you just had to learn how to deal with that without any fingertips. But again, Lucky was always kind of problematic, I guess. And whenever I would try to take him to the vet, when I first got him, at least anyway, like, there was a long time, now that I think about it, where I just didn't take him to the vet at all. Because it was too hard. Like, I never really did anything with Lucky if it was too hard. And I guess I justified it to myself because I thought, well, I don't want to make him uncomfortable. I never want to make him uncomfortable or something like that. But like I said, now I know that, like, I mean, it's what... If mother cats will just pick up a kitten by the scruff of its neck because, hey, you're not supposed to do that. or just grab them when, they need to, groom them or something like that. That was my responsibility. I was supposed to be doing that kind of stuff. And I didn't really, for the longest time. I didn't really learn about those things I was supposed to be doing for a while. And now, it's probably no coincidence that when I started to get better and healthier with regards to, like, my ADHD, and I got more treatment and I went back on meds, all of a sudden I started to realize, hey, I need to be more concerned about Lucky's health too. Like, what does my little guy need? What does he need me to do that he can't do himself? And so I started to research about things for him too, in the same way I had done for myself when it came to the type of coping strategies that I could maybe try to develop to help with my ADHD. So I found out about brushing, about the, like, yeah, you probably should brush your cat, even if they are like a short hair. It's a good idea to brush them, like, at least once a week. I found out because Lucky would vomit for a while there. He was just tossing his cookies up, like, on a somewhat regular basis. And I found out, oh, that's maybe because hairballs. More often than not. Dad called him the $1,000 cat once because we had to take him to the vet and get his kidneys taken care of. So there have definitely been other times when I was very concerned about Lucky and whether he was okay and whether I was about to lose him or not. So I don't know. It's weird, right? In a sense, when I had to say goodbye to him today, obviously I was very sad and and wish that I had more time with him. But at the same time, like, I also had plenty of time with him too. How much time is enough? I spent a good portion of my life with him. So, I'm sorry. I warned y'all this was going to be somewhat rambly because I didn't want to write a script for this. I didn't want to try to formalize this. I wanted to just sort of do this off the cuff because I kind of think, like, in a sense, that can make for better content. And I hate to call this content, like, because it's not. This is Lucky's story. This is his eulogy. I'm talking about his life and how he affected me. And I want this to be a record of how I felt the day that I had to let him go. So that, if nothing else, maybe I can look at this someday and remember how I felt. I'll tell you this much: I was crying a lot more yesterday. Like yesterday, when I knew it was time, I could hardly get a word out when I was talking to people sometimes. And actually, yesterday was doubly bad because not only did I realize that I had to say goodbye to Lucky, not long after that, it was also the orientation for my new job, which I'm going to start tomorrow. So I kind of had to pretend, sort of, that I was fine. I didn't do a great job, I don't think, but I mean, it wasn't a job interview. It was just this basic, onboarding thing where we just watched training videos and shit. So I didn't have to talk all that much, really. Me being me, I still tried, probably, I think, to crack a few jokes here and there. But, boy, whenever I would talk to somebody I knew about what had just happened, I could barely get a word out without just tearing up. And I heard some people say that. I watched some videos yesterday about when you know it's time to put your pet to sleep, because that's what I was wrestling with yesterday. Like, should I put Lucky to sleep? Because ultimately that was a decision that I had to make. And it was certainly something that I grappled with a great deal. Because obviously I wanted to be able to fix him. I wanted to figure out what was wrong with him, at least, I guess. But I couldn't. I didn't have any money, was part of it. Like, it's expensive, obviously. Taking a cat to the vet at all, to do anything. I mean, just the basic euthanasia today was like $250, and that was at a place where a lot of people said, oh, they have reasonable rates. They have reasonable rates. And that was the cheap version where, like, I didn't get, like, a personal urn with just Lucky's ashes in it. It was, Lucky would just be cremated with a bunch of other animals at the same time. So, but I guess the point is, at least one thing I heard yesterday in some of these videos about when to put your pet to sleep, when to know when to do that. This one woman was talking about not just grief, but how you want to memorialize your friend. And she said that it's sort of a individual decision. Like, there's no one way to go about it. Like, I guess an urn is one way to do it, but I kind of figured I already have like a framed picture of Lucky that I took a long time ago. That's how proud I was of him. I used to show his pictures to all sorts of people, whether they wanted to see it or not. So I have that, and plenty of pictures, and even some video footage to remember him by. And then I also thought, well, I have a YouTube channel, so this can be a way to have a little memorial for him too. It'll just sort of exist somewhere on the internet, on my little YouTube channel, my tiny little corner of the internet. And nobody has to watch it. Other than me, eventually, someday, probably, I guess. Although, as usual, I guess any creator that, like, creates, to create. Because there's a lot of creators out there that I don't think the term really applies to them, if you know what I mean. Like, they're more a YouTuber or an influencer. Like, they don't... It's all about the algorithm and money for them. They don't really care about, like, genuinely making something special, something artistic, or teaching anybody anything, or like just making somebody smile, maybe, or so that person can maybe spread the smile or lesson onto somebody else, as we do as humans, right? We tell stories, whether sometimes without even thinking about it. Oh gosh, I just lost my train of thought. Where the hell was I? Why was I even talking about this? Right, what I meant was, this is a way I can do that, to memorialize Lucky. And as to the whole crying bit yesterday, some people also said that, like, anticipatory grief is worse, in a way, than, like, coping with loss after the fact. And I know that's true now, because when Because when I knew that I was going to have to make that decision, that it was probably time to finally say goodbye to Lucky, it was so hard. Because of course, I didn't I I didn't plan for that to happen. I didn't think this was how I was going to be spending my week. I didn't. You never do, right? Sometimes how do you plan for these things? Always. And that's weird, actually. Now that I think about it, the same lady who was talking about how that said something interesting about everybody chooses how to remember their little friend, their little family member, their loved one. It's strange. Like her video almost like annoyed me somewhat, in a sense that like she was obviously much better off than me in terms of like she was able to afford some service I'd never even heard of called like Lap of Love or something, and apparently that's like a home vet. I had no idea that like home vets were even a thing, that you could like pay a vet to come to your house to work on your cat there, so that your cat you never have to take them to the vet just comes to you. I was like, what? There are people that do that? What? So she's saying all these things, and I guess what reminded me of this stuff that she said that annoyed me was she's talking about how she planned, how she was trying to plan for it, how she was trying to, put her friend to sleep at just the right time, at the ideal time, so that she would have the most time with her friend, but also so that her friend wouldn't experience that much pain. And I just couldn't help but think, as she described how she was able to put her cat down, I just couldn't help but think, like, yeah, Lucky doesn't get any of that. He didn't get any of that. Like, she's talking about how she knew a vet and she did the Lap of Love or something, or rather she considered it, but like she there's just a friend she had that was a vet that just came over and just did it, was able to just bring the drugs over to her place, and she said she set up some little cathedral or something, kind of like just flowers and stuff all over the place, and just made a big event out of it or something. I had to shove Lucky in a bag and put him in my car and drive him down the freeway to the first vet I could find that would take him, because there was a vet that would do walk-ins. So Lucky just had a normal vet room, just like Wanda did, really. Wanda was the same way. There was nothing special about how Wanda went either. For all I know, Harry will be the same way. Just the vet room. But I probably shouldn't cheapen it too much, because at the very least I was able to, thanks to my dad paying for it, because I don't have any money. It cost $250. thanks to my dad, I was able to at least sort of give him release. And the vets at this place were very kind, and they let me stay with Lucky until the very end. Until the very end. It was really hard doing that and going there, but I just thought to myself, this will go better for me and for him if I stay with him as much as possible, because I knew he would be scared and uncomfortable leaving this place, leaving our little fortress of solitude. And I didn't want for him to be scared, but there wasn't any other choice. I had to shove him in a bag. But thankfully this time I did it a little bit better than I've done it before. This time I had the bright idea, maybe I should relax him a little bit before I do that. I'll just do what I've been doing for a long time now. I just pick him up. I would pick him up occasionally and just sort of rock him back and forth and just scratch him right behind the ear and just rock him back and forth like he's a big old baby or something. So he was not pleased when I grabbed him out of his little drawer, but it was easier to put him in the bag this time, now that I just took it real slow. I just held him in my arms, and I slowly walked towards the bag, and I just slowly put him in there, and I just kind of put his head down a little bit, and just closed it up. Now I suppose I should probably rewind a little bit yet again and just talk about what happened exactly and why I knew it was time to say goodbye, time for Lucky to go. Lucky's been on a downward decline probably for a while now, because like I said, he's not a young cat, and he's had his issues like I've had in the past, but I don't know, part of me can't help but blame myself in the same way I blamed myself for Wanda this time, because when I took on Harry, it was a very impulsive decision, and I thought it would work out fine, and it kind of did, but both cats, I think, were obviously very stressed by the situation of all of a sudden having to deal with another cat in a very small space, and I guess they were both very stressed for different reasons too. Like, Lucky had what I think I heard somebody describe as like the lonely kitten syndrome, I think somebody said, where Lucky had just been with me, like I said, in this apartment for a very long time, and it's been legitimately an incredibly long time since he has even seen like another cat at all. Like, the last time he saw another cat was probably my sister's old cat, Oliver. Another cat, actually, that I failed to mention that I've dealt with before. Although Oliver wasn't in my life for very much. It's sad what happened to him, but it is what it is. And so Lucky, the point is, Lucky never really, by the time I finally got Harry, Lucky was already an old cat, very much set in his ways, and he was comfortable here with me because this was his home, and he knew where everything was, and he knew where all his things were, but everything just got turned upside down when I took Harry in. And part of me can't help but wonder if Lucky would still be here if I hadn't taken Harry in. If Lucky would still be okay. Because, I mean, it went okay between them, but it wasn't great either. They definitely fought because Harry is a very energetic young cat who is from the streets, and he grew up with a lot of other cats. He was part of a big family that some people nearby rescued from the streets. Harry was, I guess like Lucky, Harry was the odd duck that they didn't know what to do with either, because he wasn't gelling with the other cats really. That's what they told me anyway. That they were thinking about just putting him back on the street because they didn't know who to give him to. But I don't know. I should probably get to that in a bit. So Lucky, probably the first thing I noticed was he started losing some fur. And I thought, well, that's weird. Why does he have this big patch of fur that's just sort of gone? And before that, even, I had noticed, like, obviously he's just not, he just wasn't himself anymore. He was a lot more anxious and agitated. Like, he would, like I've said in some of my videos on this channel, and you might have seen, like, that Lucky was playing the floor is lava. Like, he wouldn't want to be on the floor very much. Like, he would try to be up high, which is a thing cats do when they're, you know, when they've had a bit too much, when they want to be in a safer space. And so he started to lose some hair. And I eventually started to notice some like bumps on his skin too. That I had no idea what those were, like, and I still don't, because I couldn't take either of my boys to the vet because I couldn't afford it. I could barely afford to feed them, to keep the litter boxes clean, practically, for a while there. So I don't know if those bumps were just some condition, or if I thought maybe they might have been like scars or something from Harry and his claws or something. I don't know. I do know Lucky bit Harry. Thankfully, it the wound isn't bad or anything. It still agitates him, I think, and like I said, I've learned I need to be doing more. I need to be more hands-on. So I was looking through this cat care book, and there are some things that I can do at home here for my boys that I probably should have been doing. Like even just something simple like a small cotton ball that's a little bit damp with a bit of petroleum jelly on it for the little area, because he was just picking at it himself, really. Like there's this little patch of fur on him on his side that's just gone now, where there was, he did have a bump there for a while, and I don't think he still does. Now that I think about it, it might be an, if the bump is still there, then it's an abscess, and that's not good. A vet would need to lance that or something, I guess. I still haven't even done the cotton ball thing with the to wash it and disinfect it and whatnot. He's just been washing it with his tongue, really. And I'm not getting him declawed, so I need to get used to trimming his claws, because he's not losing his claws. Even if it was free, like, I'm not doing that. But anyway, back to what happened with Lucky. On Monday night, everything just kind of came to a head really quickly. Like, he'd been getting more and more lethargic over time. Like, there was one spot in the apartment here. Let's just turn the camera around so y'all can see, maybe. That spot over there underneath the tiger painting, the pile of clothes and the books. He was lying there a lot. And sometimes he would just mostly lie there and sort of go from there across the gaming table, across my workbench, to the desk here, and sometimes just lie here right in front of my computer like he used to get my attention. It's one way he would. It's a thing cats do to get your attention. They just lay on your little keyboard or something. But he would, more and more, he would start to just lie just there and not travel around as much. He would just be in that one spot. And Monday night, I saw him doing his usual little traveling routine. I was looking at the computer, and here he comes across the desk here, and I noticed some saliva just drooling out of his mouth, and it was dark because it was almost bedtime, so I couldn't see. And it turns out that was, if it was saliva, there was blood in it. And so I couldn't tell that right away. I thought, he's drooling. That's weird. Why is that happening? Why is there just saliva just coming out of his mouth? Odd. But it was almost bedtime, so I figured, we'll address this later, whatever the heck it is. But throughout the night, when I woke up to go to the bathroom, and he was still there, like, he was there in the bathroom for a while. That was his spot for a little while, the bathroom. And I had a little towel set up on the floor for him to lie on. And I walked in there to go to the bathroom, and I saw little red marks on the floor. And I have a dirty apartment. And I have a colostomy bag because I have a colostomy bag because of UC. So for a second, I wasn't sure what these new stains were. I just talked to Lucky as I usually do. Oh gosh, buddy, are those? Is that from you or me? And I didn't know. But when I got closer to the toilet and I saw the bathtub. There's a bunch of little splotches in the bathtub, red splotches, and that was obviously very upsetting. To then realize that he'd been just bleeding all over the place, like during the night, and then I could see. I had now another thing I had noticed before is there was this damp part on his chin, which again I thought was weird. I didn't know what that was, because it's not like he hasn't had a somewhat damp chin before, because cats need to drink water, and he has a little fountain that he would drink from. But this dampness was just all around, and again I was like, well, that's weird. What's that? But then I didn't really think much of it. But then when I saw this blood, and then when I saw that there was even more saliva just almost constantly dribbling out of his mouth, and it was kind of thick, and I tried like wiping some of it off with like a paper towel. I guess there wasn't a point in that though, because it just kept dribbling down. And again, it was nighttime, and I needed to get some sleep because I had some stuff I needed to do. I had that orientation I needed to go to, so I didn't know what else to do. So I had to try and go to bed. I had to try and get some sleep, even though I knew that my cat was effectively bleeding all over the place. So I forced myself to get some sleep, and I woke up at around 8 o'clock because I knew that my vet would be opening then at 8. And I needed to leave early in the morning anyway, because the orientation started at 10 o'clock. So I wasn't giving myself an awful lot of time, I guess, to try and figure out where to take Lucky and what to do. I had no idea what if anything I could do. So I was just making lots of calls and doing Google searches and just trying to figure something out. And eventually it just kind of hit me, like talking to enough vets, and then also talking to my dad, who just said, like, maybe it's just his time, and all you can do is just make him comfortable and just let him go. And I couldn't find any vets that would just take him right away, and there's only like a handful of emergency vets in the whole damn state. And I couldn't afford the time or the money to drive him way the hell out to someplace, only for them to possibly tell me, like, yeah, he's on his last legs here. He's probably going now. But that was really hard to not know, like, definitively, like, why. And I guess it doesn't matter why, in a sense. It wouldn't really help make it easier if I knew why exactly what made him go. Although, as I was alluding to earlier, like, I can't help but wonder if I hadn't taken on Harry, would Lucky still be here? But it is what it is, you know? I decided to save Harry in the same way I decided to save Lucky. And yesterday I had to... Last night, I should say. Last night I had to clean his blood from all over the apartment. It wasn't just in the bathroom. He had been wandering around the apartment in a big old circle. There was little splotches of blood all over the windowsill, and there was even some on my glass here and on the desk, on the walls. It was almost like I was cleaning up a crime scene or something. That was really hard. Just cleaning his blood off of all sorts of things, because it needed to be done anyway. I'm not much of a neat freak. I'm not like a super clean person, but I cleaned that, obviously, because I can't just leave that there. Little little blood spatters from him, like, all over the place. So I had to clean all that, and then I had to try to go to sleep once again, with a slightly more solid plan this time of what to do, of where to go, and with the knowledge that I had to try and get up early again to go to a vet I've never been to before, to say goodbye to my best friend in the whole world. And I would, during the night, I would hear him shifting around in the closet, because as I said towards the beginning of this video, that's kind of where he went to just go, I guess. Cats do that. They'll find a nice, quiet, comfortable spot, and that's just where he was. And he wasn't eating. He was purring. He would purr. Every time I would pet him, he would purr. And he ate a few treats out of my hand sometimes. But it was really hard to sleep, because the closet isn't far from my bed. So I could hear him sort of shuffling around in there, in his drawer, the one drawer that was just his spot. He'd been there for like over a day, because he just kind of settled there. Like the blood stopped after a while, but not long after the blood stopped, like he just kind of stopped himself too. So that's all. That is kind of what made it clear, is that he's just in a lot of pain now. There's something really wrong with him. It's kind of serious, and he's in a lot of pain. So I guess I made the only decision that I could. Thankfully, thankfully I was able to do that. I'll say it again. Thanks to Dad, I was able to take him to a vet and pay the cheap price of $250 to relieve him of his misery. Because if I couldn't do that, he would just be in. He would still just be in that drawer. He would still be there, just slowly dying, like starving to death, just in a lot of pain. as hard as it was this morning, I told myself, okay, I can't let this happen. I can't let him just suffer for days, if not maybe weeks, just in my closet there. I can't do that to him. So thankfully this time Dad saved my ass again. He was able to pay for the thing that needed to happen when I had no money. Do you remember that part I said about always feeling like a failure? Always failing at everything? That hit me again. With this. Feeling like I failed my cat. Feeling like if I had just done something different, if I had just been a better caretaker, if I just been more attentive of him, then maybe he'd still be here, but he's not. I had to say goodbye to him today, and that's this video. Is technically me saying goodbye to him forever, sort of. Which might sound sappy, I guess. Because again, there's a lot of people that will just say, "What's the big deal? He was just a cat." I had an uncle like that who didn't like cats. He straight up said, "Yeah, what you should do with that cat, just drop him off a building." That was Uncle Tim, the center of every party. Uncle Tim on my mother's side, Uncle Tim Wren, if any of my family members are watching. It was not Uncle Tim Mullins that said that. But again, as somebody said in some of the videos that I watched, you don't want to associate yourself with a person like that can't even begin to empathize with the fact that, like, you know, that's your family. Yeah, that's not a person. That's just a cat. But he was lucky. He wasn't just a cat. He was lucky. And that's why it was important that he had a name, because he was lucky. Just like Harry is Harry, and now Wanda is Wanda. They're friends. And they helped me so much. They helped me learn a lot of things. So this has been going on for some time now, right? I don't even know how long this is at this point. How long has this been recording for? About an hour and a half. There's a thing that I need to do today with regards to my new job. I'll be working at the airport, and that's a lot of security clearances that need to be done, even to just be a custodian at the airport. Because, 9/11 and all that, TSA and Homeland Security and all that jazz. Boy, that was a trip yesterday. Just to go to that orientation, I had to go through TSA for like the first time in a long time. Like my colostomy bag set off some kind of alarm or something. I took all my things off, all my metal things. I thought that was all they cared about, but then I didn't realize that, like, yeah, when you have a colostomy bag, there's like a big kind of bump that looks sort of unnatural sometimes, like in your midsection, and they stop me, and they're just like, "What's that?" And for not the first time that's happened to me. And it always leads to an awkward situation. I'm like, well, it's my colostomy bag. And the guy was just like, oh, well, you were supposed to tell me that. It's okay. Jokes. We're laughing. That's good. All that to say, I guess I need to wrap this up. I can't keep this going forever. I've said my piece and then some about Lucky, and how he was my special little guy and what he meant to me, and how he and all the other cats that I've ever known have affected my life. I'll say again, I hope that somebody gets something from this other than just me, because this is closure for me in a sense. Like, I'll always remember Lucky, of course, for probably the rest of my life. I'm not gonna forget him like I forgot Jasper or Oliver or something like that. Like, he was just a part of me. He was my whole world. Sometimes I thought, like, I would sometimes get into bad situations out there, and instead of being worried about me, I would be worried about Lucky. I'd be worried about what happens to my little guy if I never come back. Or on the flip side, I would worry about him when I'm just out and about, and just, oh gosh, what if he's just dead when I come home? That could happen. He could just be dead when I come home. Like, a thing could just happen. He could just be dead. But I think I know now that when, for the most part, when cats die, it's not usually a sudden thing. It's a gradual thing. There are signs, and you can, especially when they get old, you can see them start to, like, break down and decline, and just not be themselves anymore. Just not have the ability to find joy. Like, for Lucky, there was plastic bags. There was a thing he would do whenever I would go to the bathroom. He would come in and just sort of sit next to me, and he would chew at the trash bag inside of the little trash bin that I had there. He would just kind of chew on it, and he would do that whenever I would open the fridge sometimes too. Like, if there were bags of things in there, he would just sort of chew on it. In fact, now I remember, like, when I had a bigger fridge once upon a time, he would climb in the fridge all the time. Like, every time. I swear, every time he would jump in there, like, even if there was almost nothing in there, there was just clearly no cat food in there. Nothing edible for him. He would just keep jumping in the fridge. And it would be difficult sometimes to get him out of the fridge. I would close the door on him sometimes, because I was stupid, like I said, when I was younger. Like, that alarmed one of my cousins once, because, I mean, like, you do that, and obviously the risk is you forget that they're in there, especially me with my ADHD, like that's a legitimate thing when you have ADHD. Like if you uh, put something in a container, it's almost like that thing doesn't exist anymore. That's an issue with our short term memory. And I guess another thing I wanted to mention is in the bad old days when I just had no idea how to care for cats. I used to have some really bad temper tantrums, and that's kind of how I know for a fact that like if you get angry, even if it's not at the cat, like that will freak them out, and sometimes they will respond by just coming up to you and biting you, like they'll bite you, and um, and I don't know, it might be an equal mixture of they see you as a threat now, or maybe that's their way of saying, "Hey, calm down. Hey, relax." Because I learned that too. That like they will do that to just get your attention. Sometimes they will just sort of. Lucky would do that. He would just sort of gently put his mouth on my ankle sometimes, or my wrist, to just let me know that he was there. I guess it was his way of saying hi sometimes. But emotional regulation, also an executive function affected by ADHD, not just short-term memory. Um, all that to say that yeah, there were lots of little things that gave him joy that he just stopped doing. In part because Harry was stressing him out, and I don't know. In part also because whatever was wrong with him was just slowly eating him alive or something, I guess. So once again, I should wrap this up. I should just say, um, I should just say goodbye, Lucky. Just goodbye. I loved you so much. You were you were my best friend in the whole world, and sometimes I think I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him, and the fact that he needed me, and I felt obligated to stay, at least just to be with him, just to take care of him. I have a lot more reasons to stay now, by the way, not just the fact that I have a cat. So don't worry about that. I have a lot. I have a lot more things that I want to stay around for. I'm in a much better place, mental health wise. I should mention that. Um, that was just the bad old days. I almost just didn't want to be here anymore. And I was thinking today, now that my old friend Lucky is gone, and I have my new friend Harry, and a new job, and a new purpose, even sort of in life, a new set of goals. I want to be an artist. I want to be a writer. I want to draw. I want to make games. I want to try to do all these things I've been telling myself I'm going to do for my whole life. And I don't just want to do them because it's a thing to do, or maybe it's a way for me to make some money or something like that. I want to do it because it's something that I love. It's something that I always knew that I would love, that I've always tried to do, and always liked the attempt. But it wasn't until very recently, actually, that I thought to myself, maybe I can. Maybe I can do that. Maybe I can just make things and just, who cares if nobody likes it? It's a thing that I make, that it's a message that I want to send. It's a story that I want to tell. It's a picture that I want to draw. That, much like any other piece of art, anybody can interpret however they like. And since I already know that I'm already prepared for nobody caring about my art, or people just hating it and hating me for the fact that I created my art or something like that. I'm just gonna make it because I also want to spread a much needed message, I think, about how we've lost something in a lot of ways. I think all of us have, like, in a sense, like the ability to empathize. And I'm not saying no one has the ability to do that anymore, obviously, but a lot of people have talked about the lack of things like third places in America here in particular, and or, like, just communal spots. And I don't just mean like a high school or a Starbucks. I mean a place that people can just go to just have an event. A high school could be that, but not a Starbucks, right? Because if you want to have an event at a Starbucks, you can, I guess. But you can't just do that. You can't just go there. You can't just sit at a Starbucks. I mean, you could, I guess. But they want you to buy something there, don't they? They want you... I mean, there is that one incident that happened where some guy legitimately got arrested. And it was a big deal for just trying to meet some people at a Starbucks, and they just wanted to meet and talk about a thing. And they got the police called on them just for saying, "Look, we're not going to be long. We just want to talk. What's the big deal? Why do we have to buy coffee to do that? Why do we have to buy coffee to do that?" And since most of the places that we have here in America that you could go to have a good time and have fun are not just a place to do that. It's a place, it's a business. It's a business that wants you to buy things. It doesn't just want you to buy things. It kind of needs you to buy things. I think that I know that there's never really been a serious, like, left-wing movement in America, and it's sorely needed. It always has been, but we're at another point again where it is very, very sorely needed, because it's never not funny to me that people look at, like, the Democrats and think, "Yep, that's the left wing." No, no, the Democrats are not the left wing. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. The Democrats are not left wing. Even when it comes to, like, Bernie and Ocasio-Cortez, like, they might be center leftists at best. Wow, I'm sorry. I'm really getting off into the weeds here. All that to say, hey y'all, I've got other things to do besides just take care of Harry here. So I'll be fine. Um, I've said my piece, I think, about Lucky and his story, and how it began and how it ended, and how he helped me in the same way that I helped him. That I know that it wasn't always perfect, but I provided him with a place to be safe, a safe place to be warm and be fed and be comfortable. And sometimes that's enough in this crazy world. Is it's kind of why I got Harry. Like I said, sometimes it's enough to be able to just do a little something to help someone, just because you can, just because you should. Like a homeless guy, unhoused guy. That's actually the better term now. And yes, that there's a reason it's a better term. Language changes. We do, like the connotation and meaning of words changes over time culturally, and the term homeless has a negative connotation now. And I can't help but I feel very, very sorry for people that don't have a home, especially because it's almost been me more than a few times. I've been almost evicted from this place so many times now I've lost count. Again, if it wasn't for Dad, I probably would have been evicted from here, almost evicted again, because he paid my rent last month. So, all that to say, I bought a homeless man a sandwich once. I did it a couple times, really. There's, whenever I see homeless people now, unhoused people, I should say, people that don't have homes. Because I've heard some people say that even if you don't have money, even if you don't have the ability to buy them a sandwich, sometimes it's enough to just look them in the eye and let them know that you see them, and that they too are a person, and that just say hi. Say hi sometimes. Ask them how they're doing. Because it's a very brutal existence out there. And there's actually a game. I might as well talk about a game. This is a gaming channel after all. I'm really almost done now. There's a game called Change, a homeless survival experience. And I would like to play that on this channel at some point. It's a very interesting game. You may have seen it, you may have not. I don't know. It's kind of an eclectic Steam game. It's a very niche thing. I'll talk more about it whenever the hell it is. I can finally put that footage up. But yeah, that's the kind of thing I want to do now. I want to be able to make things that cause people to stop and think, because I legitimately think that that's another thing that we've lost. We go around assuming that things are just this way. This is the way things are. And we don't question it anymore. We just assume that the way we live our lives now is the natural way that humans are supposed to exist. And I'm no longer convinced that that's really true, that we are living naturally, that we are even living in a healthy way, really. Because forget living naturally, whatever that means. I guess we would say naturally because a lot of the things we do nowadays is kind of going against human nature in a lot of ways. A lot of things that we do, and take that for what it's worth. I guess just chew on that, and because there's a lot of different ways you can interpret that statement. What is it that we do that is so problematic? I don't know, man. I'm just some guy that cleans toilets. I just pull trash. What do I know? Goodbye, Lucky. Goodbye, my old friend, my grumpy old tiger, my little guy, my best friend in the whole world. If anybody is still listening, thank you for listening. Thank you for paying any attention at all to my tiny little channel. And if you've ever commented, which I haven't gotten that many comments just yet, but that's fine. I'm still just a microscopic channel. Again, just thanks. Thanks to anybody that got anything out of the videos that I've made so far. And I'm going to keep at it. Like I keep saying, I'm going to keep getting better at it. And I want to get better at a lot of things so that I can provide the sort of life for myself and for Harry that I wanted to try and provide for Lucky, and I did, in a sense, but I want to learn from my lessons now and take better care of Harry, perhaps, and so maybe Harry can lead a better life and be live longer, maybe, than Lucky did. But I don't know. Harry is Harry. He's here, and I'm glad he's here. I'm glad you all are here too, watching me, listening to me ramble for a couple of hours about my cat Lucky, and I guess just anything else that came to mind as well. I need to just stop now. So, thank you again, and goodbye, Lucky. Take care, y'all, and take care of each other. And when I say that, take care of each other, I mean that. Take care of each other, take care of your loved ones, your friends. Look people in the eye and realize they're a person too. Take it easy.